At 10 o'clock every day, only I will be popular. Xuan obtained the shared boyfriend system, and every time he accepted an order, Xuan was curious and uneasy. Who were the customers this time? Could you please queue up one by one to place your order? As long as you put forward your requirements, I can fulfill them. But don't be too outrageous, otherwise the cost will be a bit expensive. Ding dong. Successfully accepted the order. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the following items. Violin quick start. Immediately achieve the level of the world's top violin master. Hangover paper, poetry edition. Any poem that has its name written on it will be put on hold, and the right of signature will belong to you. Unlimited black card. A bank card that won't explode even with casual swiping. It has endless wealth, but can only be spent on beautiful customers who order Reader Quick Ad Group. 529919903 Keywords of the novel. Urban Shared Boyfriend System without pop-ups, Urban Shared Boyfriend System TXT Complete Collection Download, Urban Shared Boyfriend System Latest Chapter Reading. Chapter 1. Shared Boyfriend System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Shared Boyfriend System Shanghai No. 1 Middle School, Grade 3 Teaching Building. Xuan leaned against the railing in the classroom corridor, staring blankly. However, his longtime classmate Zhang Haran approached with a contemptuous expression, arguing with Xuan and asking, "Hey, Xuanzi, which female teacher in our school do you think is the most beautiful?" However, as soon as Zhang Haran asked this question, he regretted it because he turned his head and found his homeroom teacher Qin Kellen standing behind. But unfortunately, Xuan was completely unaware of it. He looked down at the playground with a pair of sneaky eyes, carefully pondered Zhang Haran's question just now, and replied, "Of course it's our homeroom teacher. I really like Teacher Qin." Qin Kellen, who was originally expressionless, heard Xuan's pleasing words and was smiling as she wanted to touch Xuan's head. But at this moment, Xuan squinted his eyes and said in a low voice, "That 36D human chest weapon is almost tearing open her clothes. I've been thinking about her for a long time." Xuan. Accompanied by Teacher Qin's shy and angry roar, Xuan and Zhang Haran ran away in a state of embarrassment. "Xuanzi, you're going to finish playing this time. Teacher Qin will definitely tear your hand apart." Escaping back to the classroom, Zhang Haran had a smug expression of schadenfreude on his face. After sitting with Xuan for 3 years, he finally managed to trap him once. However, Xuan turned a blind eye to this. If he had been tricked like this, Xuan would definitely want a monkey to steal peaches and retaliate back. "Xuanzi. Xuanzi. What's wrong with you? Are you scared? Hey. Xuanzi, stop pretending." Zhang Haran shouted several times, but Xuan still looked stunned. But in reality, Xuan was not pretending, but was stunned by what was happening in his mind at this moment. The shared boyfriend system has been successfully activated and is currently being bound. Detect the host's world environment. Start making some necessary changes to the world background. The renovation has been completed and the host's physical condition is being tested. Evaluating the host's constitution. Assessment completed. Meets the minimum recruitment criteria for the shared boyfriend system. After being bombarded by a series of sounds that appeared in his mind, Xuan was very excited to find that he had been bound to a shared boyfriend system. Nowadays, the concept of shared bicycles, shared power banks, shared BMW, and shared economy can be said to be deeply ingrained in people's hearts, but surprisingly, even shared boyfriends have emerged. Shared boyfriend system. Damn it. I've never heard of such a cool system before. The system, come out. Let's talk about it all. What functions do you have? What can I do? In his mind, Xuan issued a sole question towards the system. Shared boyfriend system is a system designed to help hosts become the perfect boyfriend. Hosts can freely choose the order taking time, which is 24 hours by default. After a very tedious introduction of the system, Xuan roughly understood the following most important points. 1. No matter what requirements the customer places an order for, the system will help them acquire corresponding abilities. 2. After the lease ends, as long as the host receives a 5-star rating, they can randomly obtain a permanent ability. 3. Every time you rent yourself out to become a shared boyfriend, you will receive a certain amount of boyfriend coins, which can be used to exchange various magical items and abilities in the system, or used for mysterious lucky draws. 4. At present, this system is not yet complete and has just been activated. There are still more features waiting to be developed. Sleeping trough. It's my turn, Xuan, to counterattack. Life has taken off. In front of the system, the college entrance examination is considered a bird. With only 1 month left until the college entrance examination, Xuan was scolded by his teachers at school and scolded by his parents when he returned home. Since entering the 3rd year of high school, it seems that the whole world has started to blame him for not studying hard and why his grades have become so poor. The more it is like this, the stronger Xuan's rebellious mentality becomes, and he always looks like he's just hanging around. He and his desk mate Zhang Haoran can be said to be the black sheep of class 7 in grade 3. They never study hard, either sleeping and playing with their phones or reading novels during class. Most of the other subject teachers have given up on these two things, except for the homeroom teacher Chin Kellen, who tirelessly monitors their progress in reviewing for the college entrance examination every day. Xuan, hand in your homework. Teacher Chin can say that if you don't take the college entrance examination review seriously anymore, she will call your parents to school. A pleasant voice pulled Xuan back to reality in a daze. The beautiful little sister in front of her, with a ponytail tied and a fair face and bright big eyes, was specially sent by teacher Chin to keep an eye on Xuan and his 2 classmates. She was Dong Zijin, the top student in class 7 of grade 3. Class monitor, giving a small report is a despicable behavior, homework. Of course I did it well, you let me look for it. Flipping through his backpack, Xuan took out all 3 of the homework he had copied from the morning physics class. Did you do everything right? Humph. It looks like you copied the homework. With slightly red cheeks bulging, Dong Zijin was truly a top student and a school flower. He glanced lightly and realized that Xuan was not made by himself. Don't slander people without evidence. Which eye did you see me copying homework? Besides, I always finish my homework on time, and even teacher Chin has nothing to say about me. With a pursed mouth, Xuan's oily and slippery tone was all over his class for the past 3 years. Learning is your own business, Xuan. How long can you deceive others and yourself like this? Pointing to the countdown at the back of the classroom, with 29 days left, Dong Zijin shook his head and turned away disappointed. Zijin, Xuan is such a poor student. What do you care about him? He's just wasting his expression. Dong Zijin returned to his seat, and his desk mate Ma Yuan advised her when she saw that she was in a bad mood. But Yuan, this is the task assigned to me by teacher Chin. Moreover, I know that Xuan's mind is not really stupid, it's just that he hasn't put his mind on studying. If he can start studying well now. Puff. Don't joke, Zijin. Even if Xuan starts studying hard without eating or sleeping for 24 hours from now on, he may not even be able to pass a bachelor's degree. You are destined to go to the northern Yanjing in the Qing dynasty, and you are like heaven and earth with him. Anyway, he doesn't accept your feelings, so don't worry about him, Ma Yuan advised again. At the same time, Chin Kellen walked into the office of the high school English group teacher with a sullen expression on her face. Just now in the hallway, what Xuan said really made her very angry. As a senior high school student, how could you say such indecent words? Moreover, the object of insult is still oneself, the homeroom teacher. Teacher Go, what's wrong with the current students? Their minds are full of these inappropriate things. He even said, My chest is big. Sitting at his desk, Chin Kellen angrily complained to another female teacher about this matter. Upon hearing this, Teacher Go also chuckled and said, Teacher Chin, take a look for yourself. The other students are not wrong either. Your chest is quite big. Is it big? Chin Kellen lowered her head and looked at the ups and downs of her chest, feeling a chill in her heart. It's really quite big. Why didn't I feel like it before? Actually, Teacher Chin, you don't need to be so angry. A little boy like this is already in adolescence, with high levels of male hormones, which can easily lead to sexual impulses. Especially, as your homeroom teacher, you dress up and down in front of them every day. If they don't have any thoughts about you, wouldn't it be even more abnormal? It shows that Teacher Chin lacks charm and can't even conquer young boys who are just starting to fall in love. Teacher Go, who has been teaching for more than 20 years, smiled and comforted Chin Kellen, saying, Besides, doesn't he only dare to say that behind his back? If it were me, if I heard a male student admiring him like this behind his back, I wouldn't be happy in time. Explanation. My mother's charm still lingers. Teacher Go, I'm so angry with my students that you're still making fun of me. Although Chin Kellen still had an angry expression on his face, he had already accepted Teacher Ji's statement inside. Moreover, Teacher Ji's words also reminded her that she should carefully consider her attire and appearance in the future, otherwise little boys like Xuan will have to think wildly when they see it. It's not that I'm talking about you, Teacher Chin. You should also find a boyfriend and enjoy the nourishment of love. You look so beautiful, and there are many young men pursuing you. Why? You haven't even caught your eye. Teacher Go jokingly said, Do you want me to be your matchmaker? Can I help you find something? Teacher Go, I won't bother you anymore. I don't want to find a boyfriend yet. I'll talk about it after taking care of this year's senior year. Chin Kellen, feeling somewhat guilty, quickly pretended to look down at the news on the computer screen. Who would have thought that at this moment, a QQ message popped up, which was sent by college friend Li Huanhuan. Lon, tonight's Poetry Association event, don't forget to call your mysterious boyfriend who can both play the violin and write poetry. Upon seeing this news, Chin Kellen's heart gave a thud, knowing that this major event was not going well. She and her best friend Li Huanhuan are both members of the Shanghai Poetry Association. Last month during the Poetry Association event, Li Huanhuan, who had been drinking too much, kept holding on to her and wanted to introduce her boyfriend. Chin Kellen lied about having a boyfriend to appease her at the time. And he also said that his boyfriend is very good, not only can play the violin, but also write poetry. He also said that the next Poetry Association activity will bring it to everyone to see. But who knew that Li Huanhuan, who had always struggled to remember her own name after getting drunk, remembered this matter so tightly. No matter how Chin Kellen tried to evade it, she insisted on bringing her boyfriend to the Poetry Association tonight. Oh my! I really got my head squeezed by the door. What's the point of competing with a drunk person? Now I'm just lifting a stone and smashing my own foot. Chin Kellen, who couldn't help but regret it, patted her head in frustration and said, Where am I going to find such a boyfriend now? However, at that moment, a dazzling web page suddenly popped up on the computer screen. Welcome to use Shared Boyfriend. As long as you place an order, no matter what kind of request you make, we will wholeheartedly provide you with the most perfect boyfriend experience. P.S. Must be a hot girl. This is a very fun book, I hope everyone supports and likes it, and most importantly, remember to vote for recommendations every day. Book Friend Group 529919903 join first. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. First Order Reception. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator. What did he come here for in Chapter 3? You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 3. What did he come here for? A mature mask can enhance my temperament and become mature and stable. It's not really useful. That violin quick guide is a bit useful, but I really don't have a violin at home, and it's also useless if I want this one. Finally, a blank piece of paper. If I write any poems on it, they will all become mine. Nima. Should I write all the poems in my Chinese textbook so that I don't have to memorize them? In the last class of the afternoon, on the podium, the chemistry teacher was reviewing the papers from the last exam, but Xuan had already started researching the 3 props he had just obtained. The gap between fantasy and reality is still quite large. Xuan originally thought that after obtaining the system, he could instantly become rich and handsome, and then air the air in seconds. However, it has been proven that even with a system, one still needs to take one step at a time to be a good person. Although the props he received seemed to be quite useless, Xuan, adhering to the principle of doing what you love, still took this first shared boyfriend order very seriously. Ding ling ling. After school, as it is the 3rd year of high school, many students still bury their heads and consciously want to take another self-study class. However, underperforming students like Xuan and Zhang Haran always carry their backpacks and walk out after school. What? Seeing Xuan walking outside, Dong Zijin wanted to stand up and stop him, but he was still one step late. She held a review notebook in her hand and sighed, but in the end, she still couldn't catch up. Zijin, why are you doing this? Even if you help Xuan no matter how much, he won't be able to climb up the wall with mud. Ma Yuanyuan found it both funny and strange. Even though there were so many excellent boys pursuing Dong Zijin, she ignored them all. How could she look at Xuan, a poor student with a crane tail, with a different perspective? After leaving the school gate, Zhang Haran encouraged Xuan with a mischievous smile and said, Xuanzi, it's still early, let's go. Let's go see the factory and finish work. The factory flower mentioned by Zhang Haran refers to the most beautiful female worker in the largest state-owned Sany textile factory in Shanghai City. Every evening at the end of the workday, a group of young girls, dressed only in simple work uniforms but displaying their beauty, would come out in groups from the main entrance of the textile factory. Among them, there is a well-known beauty who is the most beautiful female worker in the Sany textile factory, known as the factory flower. Many young men come to see the factory flowers after work every day, and there are also some wealthy young men who come forward to chat with them. However, the factory flowers are just the factory flowers, and no man comes to pay attention. Xuan and Zhang Haran often joined in the fun. After school, they crowded with a group of young men in their 20s on the back alley of Yuanxiang Street, waiting specifically for the factory flowers to finish work. However, today seems to be a bit unlucky. Xuan and Zhang Haran worked overtime at the factory and waited for 10 minutes at the factory gate. Not to mention the factory's expenses, they didn't even see a factory girl who finished work. Howsy, take your time and wait on your own. I have to go home. As soon as he thought of a goddess with a beauty score of 91 waiting for him, Xuan's heart had already flown. When I got home, my parents were also working overtime and didn't come back. Xuan hastily made a bowl of instant noodles for dinner, took a shower, and then rummaged through boxes and cabinets, flipping out all the clothes he had put on the table. Picking left and right, Xuan simply paired a white shirt and casual pants, but still felt a bit out of place. After all, Xuan's immature face, coupled with mature clothing and attire, is somewhat out of line. However, when Xuan put on the mature mask and looked in the mirror, it was much better now. The date's address is number 25 Zhongshan Road. The time is 7:30, okay. Shared boyfriend. Get ready. Depart. After everything was ready, Xuan sneaked out of the house like a thief. Fortunately, at this point, most neighbors either work overtime and don't come back, or they just eat at home. Otherwise, if they want to show their appearance, they will definitely have to give a little report to their parents. At this moment, in the Weiye Jiayuan community, Qin Kellen was also having a headache about what to wear to the poetry club after returning home. Will there really be a shared boyfriend coming? If no one comes, then I just tell Huan and her friends that my boyfriend is working overtime. Yes. That's all for now. Let's temporarily fool him before we talk. After looking in the mirror and hesitating for a while, Qin Kellen decided not to change clothes and just wear this white dress. Pack up and prepare to go out. But at this moment, Qin Kellen's phone rang. It was the Secretary General of the Poetry Association, Kai Pin. Xiao Qin. I heard that you will bring your partner to our Poetry Association's event today. Secretary General Kai is a kind-hearted elder sister who has always taken great care of and cared for Qin Kellen. Of course. Being a woman inevitably leads to gossip, so as soon as she heard this news, she immediately called Qin Kellen to verify. Ah. Sister Kai, how did you also know? This person is so happy, big mouth. Even Secretary General Kai knew that Qin Kellen had anticipated that over 100 members of the Poetry Association were probably waiting to see their so-called boyfriends today. Haha. Yes. Huan, that girl, specially sent this good news to the group of our Poetry Association today, and even affected everyone. I can't even see it if I don't want to. And Huan also said, your boyfriend is also a poet. Can he write poetry? Kai smiled and said. I guess so. At this moment, Qin Kellen's heart was even more restless, probably referring to her feeling at this moment when riding a tiger and struggling to get off. Don't be nervous, Xiao Qin. How about I give you a backdoor? Our Poetry Association will improvise a poem tonight with the theme of love. You should prepare your boyfriend first, and then show off well. Also, let the young men from our Poetry Association who want to chase you give up. Obviously, after staying at the Poetry Association for so long, Sister Kai understands Qin Kellen's predicament very well. Every time she participates in an activity, she is surrounded by a group of young men who want to be close to her pursuers, which is indeed quite annoying. The theme is love. Okay. Thank you, Sister Kai. You're really giving charcoal in the snow. Upon hearing these words, Qin Kellen was overjoyed. What she was actually most afraid of was her rented shared boyfriend. What if she didn't know how to write poetry? The Poetry Association always writes poetry on the spot during every activity. If he can't write a single poem, isn't he showing his fear on the spot and losing face? 3 conditions, mature and steady, this should be appropriate. The second condition is that one can play the violin, and even if the person who comes does not know, it is difficult to verify on site. The only thing that worries Qin Kellen the most about writing poetry is that not only Li Huan, but also the members of the Poetry Association will definitely coax her boyfriend to write poetry on site. However, now that she had known in advance that the theme was love, Qin Kellen felt a little relieved. She, who was already preparing to leave, immediately returned to her study and wrote a modern poem titled Rootless Water, with love as its theme. She then hid it in her pocket and planned to give it to the other person as soon as they met. At 7:20 p.m., number 25 Zhongshan Road. This is the auditorium of the Municipal Art Activity Center. Tonight, there will be a monthly social event organized by the Poetry Association. Many members of the Poetry Association had already arrived early and walked in one by one, chatting and laughing. Qin Kellen arrived at 7 o'clock and stood at the door, anxiously reading his watch while waiting. Will there be a shared boyfriend coming? Qin Kellen really didn't know, his heart was beating drums. Teacher Qin, why don't you go in when you're here? Oh. Lao Huang, don't you know yet? Teacher Qin came with his partner today, and most likely he was waiting for him. Teacher Qin has a partner. How could I not know, haha. Tonight, we need to have a good understanding. What an excellent young man could catch Teacher Chin. Time passed by minute by second, and Chin Kellen stood at the door waiting, her small hands clenched in sweat, especially when she heard other members discussing these words. She swore in her heart that she would never talk nonsense about her boyfriend again. It's almost 7:30, why hasn't this shared boyfriend come yet? Humph. If I had known, I would have bought delay insurance. Watching the members of the Poetry Association arrive one after another, Chin Kellen was almost eager to see through. However, at this moment, a familiar figure suddenly appeared in front of her, across the street. Is that Xuan from my class? With widened eyes, Chin Kellen saw Xuan walking slowly towards him from across the street, feeling somewhat incredulous. What is he doing here? End of this chapter. Chapter 4. I am the shared boyfriend you ordered. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. I am the shared boyfriend you ordered. Seeing Xuan here, Chin Kellen's face was obviously filled with confusion and shock. But Xuan's expression was even more terrifying, like the following. Sleeping trough. Why is Teacher Chin here? And what does the exclamation mark above Teacher Chin's head mean? People who have played online games know that if there is a dot on the NPC's head, it means there is a task here that needs to be gently clicked with the mouse to receive specific prompts. What does that mean, really? Oh my god. I don't know. The customer who placed my order with me is Mr. Chin. With a stiff scalp and an awkward yet polite smile on his face, Xuan slowly walked towards the opposite side of the road. At the same time, as he was about to approach Chin Kellen, Xuan pretended to wave at her, gently hovering in the air. That's all, and a virtual task prompt box immediately popped up in front of Xuan, only he could see it. Arrived at the pick.up location, customer Chin Kellen. Please complete the shared boyfriend task as requested by the customer. Immediately after, Xuan saw the attribute table about Chin Kellen. Name: Chin Kellen. Gender: female. Age: 26. Occupation: high school English teacher. Appearance: 91. Love status: single, first love not unlocked, intimacy with host. 61 points. Familiarity: height, weight, 3 dimensions, other identities, lifetime ideal, biggest annoyance. Ideal lover requirements. Seeing so many attributes about Chin Kellen, Xuan can only see a limited number, including under ideal lover requirements. There are also a lot of different attributes, but later they are all and cannot be seen in unlocked mode. However, the undeniable reality is that the legendary 91-point goddess who placed the order is none other than her own homeroom teacher Chin Kellen. Oh my goodness. The first order I received was actually from Teacher Chin. How can I pretend to be okay and then quietly run away? I'm waiting online, a bit anxious. There are immortals who can spread messages from thousands of miles, big and small, telling me. Although Xuan seems to be as stable as Mount Tai now, he is really in a panic. What bullshit task rewards, what boyfriend coins, to exchange for rewards, Xuan doesn't even consider it anymore. He only thinks of the truth he accidentally said to Teacher Chin during the day, probably. Teacher Chin still remembers it vividly, right? Sure enough, when Chin Kellen saw Xuan really walking towards him, his anger surged in his heart. Even if Teacher Go tried to enlighten her in the afternoon, but her own students said such offensive things and didn't scold her properly. How could it be understandable? What? Just as Chin Kellen was about to shout out to Xuan who was about to leave, the phone in Chin Kellen's hand shook again, and a long-awaited text message arrived. Customer Chin Kellen, your shared boyfriend has arrived at the agreed location on time. Wishing you a pleasant dating experience. Shared boyfriend, we will create the most perfect boyfriend experience for you. Please reply to TD to unsubscribe. The shared boyfriend I called has already arrived. Where is it? Where is it? Why didn't I see it? Upon seeing this information, Chin Kellen couldn't help but feel disheartened. Where else did he have the heart to educate Xuan? Immediately looking around, but within a 10-meter radius. Except for Xuan, Chin Kellen didn't seem to see any men who could be called boyfriends. No, won't it? Suddenly, Chin Kellen had an extremely bad premonition in her heart. She furrowed her brow, widened her eyes, and pointed at Xuan in front of her. Xuan, tell me. What are you doing here? No. I just passed by. As Xuan spoke, he planned to turn around and run away, but at this moment, a system warning sounded in his mind. Warning. If the host evades the order after receiving it, it will lead to incalculable consequences. Please be cautious when evading the order. Puff. System, okay. You're so pretty, you're such a grinding little fairy. If you don't leave, then don't leave. I took the order based on my own abilities, what are you afraid of? After knowing that he couldn't escape the order, Xuan had to grit his head and turn his head, then his heart immediately moved. He smiled and bowed to Chin Kellen's very professional smile, saying, Hello customer Chin Kellen, I am the shared boyfriend you ordered. Sure enough, it's you, Xuan. You're a serious high school student. If you don't study hard and prepare for the college entrance examination, how can you still come out? Do what? Share your boyfriend. As expected, Chin Kellen was really unable to laugh or cry. No one would believe him even if he said it out loud. He casually clicked on the mouse and keyboard online and called for a shared boyfriend, who turned out to be the most mischievous student in his class. No. Customer Chin Kellen, you must have mistaken the person. I'm not Xuan. Playing with the spirit, Xuan maintained a professional smile and retorted. You're not Xuan, so who are you? It's impossible. Xuan, don't try to argue anymore. I was caught by the teacher today and I won't tell your parents. Chin Kellen has heard too many students' lies and naturally is invincible. However, Xuan licked his face and smiled slightly, saying, I'm not Xuan. My name is Hebai, and I'm Xuan's brother. What a coincidence. Are you Xuan's teacher? However, no matter what your relationship with Xuan is, from now on. It's already 7:30 p.m., and the lease is officially in effect. I'm your boyfriend now. Why? Xuan, are you kidding? Even two brothers can't look the same. Chin Kellen frowned. He was going to look at Xuan carefully, but suddenly found that Xuan in front of him seemed very different from usual. Despite being at school during the day, Xuan still had a childish face, which immediately gave him the feeling of being a student. The person in front of me now, although he looks basically the same as Xuan, is clearly more mature and steady in temperament. It is absolutely impossible for an 18-year-old senior high school student to have such a mature and steady temperament. You are really Xuan's brother, why bother? Having discovered this, Chin Kellen himself was a bit confused. Can we say Xuan really has a biological brother who looks the same? Yes. I really don't need to. Fortunately, with the maturity mask, Xuan was able to tell this lie as expected. However, seeing the puzzled expression on Chin Kellen's face, Xuan knew that he had not fully gained her trust. However, just as they were deadlocked, a pure and beautiful figure suddenly appeared on the side. With a smile, she grabbed Chin Kellen's arm and exclaimed in surprise, Kellen. Oh my goodness. Did you really bring your boyfriend? This he. Chin Kellen was a bit hesitant, and she didn't expect her best friend Li Huanhuan to suddenly kill like this. What is he? He doesn't even introduce himself. Handsome guy, how do you call him? I'm Li Huanhuan, Kellen's college roommate and best friend. Li Huanhuan is quite familiar, constantly scrutinizing Xian's body. Hello Huanhuan, I'm Kellen's boyfriend. Why bother? After nodding slightly and putting on the mature mask, Xian's demeanor in life also became more calm and composed. Why bother? This name is very unique. Alright, the event is about to start and everyone is waiting. Kellen, why don't you hurry and grab your Mr. He inside? Li Huanhuan gave Chin Kellen a glance and said with a smile, today. Your Mr. He, I'm afraid he will have to go through 5 levels and kill 6 generals. Speaking, Li Huanhuan smiled slightly at Xian and said, Mr. He, I wish you good luck tonight. Wish me good luck. Kellen, what does this mean? Entering the role of boyfriend completely, Xian naturally grabbed Chin Kellen's hand. You. Chin Kellen, who had never even been in love before, was suddenly grabbed by a stranger boy and instinctively wanted to break free, but was tightly grasped by Xian. Shoo, Kellen, we are currently in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. Don't expose your secrets. I am a very professional boyfriend. On the surface, he appeared serious, but in reality, Xian had already burst into laughter in his heart. In his 3 years of high school, the stern and serious Chin teacher in front of him had such a helpless and seemingly serious side. Ah. I hope you're really professional enough. It's not that easy for Huanhuan to pass the 5 levels and slay the 6 generals. Chin Kellen let out a sigh and lowered her head, feeling a bit resigned. She thought to herself. For now, that's all we can do. I hope this Xian brother really meets her 3 requirements. But when her eyes looked towards the wrist that Xian was holding onto her right hand, she suddenly frowned again. Because there is a very conspicuous red mole. She knows that Xian also has an identical red mole in the same position. Even if it is identical twins, it is difficult to distinguish the true and false appearance, but the moles on specific parts of the body. Can they be the same? In an instant, through this red mole, Chin Kellen completely understood. What kind of bullshit, brother, why bother? It's all nonsense that fools people. I am currently holding on to myself, and it is clearly Xian, the true master, P.S. We are working hard to update. At least 2 updates every day. We hope everyone can follow and watch every day. After reading every day, they can easily vote for the recommended votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Full focus. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Full targeting. It is obvious that through the red mole on Xian's hand, Chin Kellen immediately saw through his clumsy lie. However, at present, it is already a difficult situation to get off the horse. If Chin Kellen just exposes Xian like this, it will be even more awkward in the future. How can I fulfill the lie of bringing a boyfriend in front of so many members of the Poetry Association? So, as a smart woman, Chin Kellen decided to play by the trick and not expose Xian for the time being, let him be her shared boyfriend. Just apart from the fact that his appearance is somewhat mature and stable, Chin Kellen still expresses deep concern. In her opinion, Xian cannot achieve the other 2 conditions. Fortunately, she was already prepared. As she was being pulled in by Xian, she reached into her pocket with her other hand and stuffed the impromptu poem, Rootless Water, she had written today into Xian's hand. What is this? Xian was taken aback, with an extra note in his hand. Don't look now. Entering the main hall of the Poetry Association, more and more members he knew came to greet him, so Chin Kellen couldn't explain too much to Xian. Teacher Chin, is this a love letter written for me? Putting the note into his pocket, Xuan chuckled inwardly. Compared to Qin Kellen's nervous and enemy-like appearance, Xuan had a calm and natural demeanor. On the other hand, Li Huanhuan is a famous socialite of the Poetry Association, who is familiar with members of various age groups and naturally plays the role of a loudspeaker. After seeing Qin Kellen's boyfriend, Xuan, at the door, she enthusiastically ran into the auditorium and spread it widely. What? Huanhuan, did you read it right? Did Kellen really bring her boyfriend here? In the middle of the auditorium, a young gentleman dressed in a luxurious suit and formal attire furrowed his brow upon hearing the words. He gently lowered the red wine tall glass in his hand and said incredulously, "But as far as I know, Kellen has been in Shanghai City for 3 years, not to mention having a boyfriend. He doesn't even have a close opposite-sex friend. Bin Xiao. Anyway, I saw it. Maybe. Is it because Kellen did a good job in confidentiality?" Li Huanhuan glanced at this wealthy young man, Wang Wenbin, the third young master of the well-known family business, Wang Group, in Shanghai City. Wang Group mainly deals in food processing and high-end hotel-restaurant chains, and is one of the several large enterprises in Shanghai City. Wang Wenbin, at a young age, has already graduated from an MBA program at a prestigious overseas school and is currently helping his family manage the hotel and food business. He is a very persistent and determined pursuer of Qin Kellen within the Poetry Association. What's going on? Bin Xiao has been taken away from his beloved by someone. It seems that he's not angry in his heart. How about we give that kid a beating together later? As he spoke, another playboy next to him, dressed in a fancy suit, approached with a toothpick in his mouth and said, "I saw it at the door just now. To be honest, I was a bit disappointed. I can't imagine how Miss Qin, such a delicate flower, could be stuck on such a pile of cow dung." "Oh. Zhang Jiala, what do you have in mind?" Upon hearing this, Wang Wenbin was overjoyed. He knew that Zhang Jiala was a famous playboy in the city. However, after joining the Poetry Association, he pursued Qin Kellen relentlessly, but to no avail, just like himself. Normally, they would argue and show off in front of Qin Kellen in the Poetry Association, which is not right. However, now that Qin Kellen has brought a boyfriend, the two have united the front line. "Hey! What do you two guys want? He's Kulan's boyfriend, but he's an honest person. Don't act recklessly." Li Huanhuan, standing beside her, felt a little flustered when she saw these two demon kings about to join forces. "Huanhuan, you can rest assured. We are just guarding Miss Qin and see what this man is better at than us." Zhang Jiala puffed out his toothpick. "In this way, I really wish Mr. He good luck." Having drawn a cross on her chest, Li Huanhuan was somewhat gloating, but of course. More importantly. Wait and see. The Shanghai Poetry Association is a subsidiary of the Shanghai Writers Association, jointly sponsored by multiple enterprises such as the Wang Group, Fanyuan Dairy, and Zhongliao Group. Compared to the Writers Association, the Poetry Association is more like a social gathering under the guise of poetry. Large enterprises provide funding and prizes for various activities, and many senior executives and government officials join poetry associations to exchange emotions and freely discuss art. Of course, the reason why wealthy gentlemen like Wang Wenbin and Zhang Jiala joined the Poetry Association is even more pure. 1. In order to act pretentious, under the guise of a member of the Poetry Association, I raised my level of sophistication and appeared to be a cultured person. 2. In order to attract girls, female teachers in public institutions, especially in some schools, are beautiful and meaningful, unlike those women in romantic places and workplaces who are so vulgar and shrewd and uninteresting. Since graduating from Normal University and being assigned to teach at Shanghai No. 1 Middle School, Qin Kellen was recommended by Li Huanhuan to join the Poetry Association due to her hobbies, and immediately became the most sought-after female poet among the young masters in the Poetry Association. "Teacher Qin, is this your partner?" "Not bad. Not bad. A talented person. Teacher Qin is here. Don't introduce your partner. We can get to know each other better. Young man. You're quite impressive. Even Teacher Qin can be pursued by you, so you must cherish it. You don't know how many young talents in our Poetry Association have been relentlessly pursuing Teacher Qin for 3 years, but they haven't been able to open his heart. The official activity of the Poetry Association has not yet begun, and everyone is walking around and greeting each other. Qin Kellen and He Xian can be said to have walked around, and basically everyone has officially met He Xian. Although their words may seem polite, in reality, after meeting, they couldn't help but shake their heads and sigh. How could an excellent and beautiful girl like Qin Kellen find an ordinary young man like He Xian? Indeed, from a superficial perspective, He Xian's attire and attire are very suitable, with his entire body covered in street vendors, greatly reducing his score. His appearance can only be described as ordinary, and because he has never truly participated in such social occasions, it makes him appear somewhat reserved and petty. Which one is not a human spirit who can enter the Poetry Association? Especially there are many retired old men from government agencies who know countless people. Just by looking at He Xian's state, one can roughly know that he is probably at most a young man who has just graduated from college and has not achieved much. Cut it. I thought Kellen would find such a great boyfriend. So that's it. Even the few top-tier college students I just recruited in my company are probably many times stronger than him, I don't know. Seeing Qin Kellen and He Xian from afar, Wang Wenbin felt very uncomfortable in his heart. If He Xian were a refined person of similar rank to himself, Wang Wenbin would still reluctantly accept him. But there is a significant disparity in strength. How could Wang Wenbin be willing to lose to He Xian like this? Bin Xiao, sometimes women are like this. A single leaf blinds the eye. Today, we just need to let Miss Qin see clearly that her excellent boyfriend in her eyes is actually just an ordinary person, and even a clown who can't hold back the scene and is ridiculed by others. I think even if they are currently in a romantic relationship, soon they should not be. End of this chapter. 6, Chapter 6 Performance of Devil's Tremor, 2nd episode. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator. Chapter 7. Top Masters Accompanying. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator. Where does Chapter 8 come from for the elderly? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Where do elderly people come from? The melodious piano notes rang out in the auditorium, but after only a few notes, the style of the piano notes suddenly changed, pushing and staring. The sound of the piano also became sharp, this is vibrato. Moreover, Zhong Lao, who was sitting in front of the piano, did not play any known sheet music. He completely followed the tune of He Xian's violin without hesitation. Keep following me. Just like the most faithful servant, the piano notes are always one beat slower than the violin's performance, but this accompaniment is like waves of huge waves, pushing people who were already frightened by the violin's performance to another height. Then he fell off with a thud, and the piano tone softened slightly as he began to repair his shattered heart. The sound of the violin is piercing, short, and passionate, while the jumping of the piano becomes soothing in the end. Oh my goodness! These two people on stage, one is the world-renowned top pianist Zhong Lao, and the other is the unknown amateur, He Xian. The two had not even met before, no. Or rather, even at this moment, He Xian, who was immersed in playing the violin with his eyes closed, still did not open his eyes to take a glance at Zhong Lao. However, it was these two individuals with such a huge disparity in status that it was almost impossible for them to intersect. However, on the strange and untimely stage of the Poetry Association activity, they played such a unique heavenly sound together. Oh no! This cannot be called the heavenly sound, but rather the devil's sound. The enchanting sound immersed almost everyone in the piano and violin ensemble among the members of the Poetry Association present. They were afraid, their pupils dilated, and their whole bodies trembled. They cried, tears streaming down their faces, sobbing incessantly. True art is the ability to use abstract images or music to evoke and influence human emotions. And most art has a true, good, and beautiful side, which influences and mobilizes human expectations and emotions for beauty. But this song, Devil's Tremor, is not like that. It's like a devil, hooking up the deepest dark side of your heart and exposing it to the sun, allowing you to judge, repent, make amends, reflect this kind of art. That's the real art. It's truly fascinating, making people willing to sacrifice all their souls and bodies, to dedicate themselves to such art, to integrate into it, and become a part of it. At least Zhong Lao thought and did the same. After 2 years of sealing the piano, Zhong Lao has been searching for the art that he has been searching for. The feeling he has been searching for is indescribable, like a vague void, unable to grasp any inspiration, but when he heard Xian's violin solo today, he suddenly realized that it was this kind of voice. Sit down and play the piano. Zhong Lao felt that this moment was the pinnacle of his life, the true pinnacle of art. Look at this audience filled with obsession and selflessness, and see if it seems like the entire hall has been moved into hell. Being able to perform such an art, Zhong Lao only felt death without regret. However, this is for Mr. Zhong. As Xian was playing the violin, he suddenly felt that there seemed to be another voice on this stage, and he opened his eyes slightly. Sleeping trough. When did this old man come? I pulled well, but he came to accompany me. I believe anyone has had such an experience. While singing to their heart's content, suddenly a guy joined in and sang with you, even louder than your voice. Isn't it very unpleasant in my heart? Every time he encounters such a person, Xian never hesitates to scold him with a single sentence, "Can we start singing on our own in the future?" Yes. That's right. Xian now feels like this. He is particularly good at solo violin, and I don't know when an old man will come in. Don't even ask, just sit there and play the piano. No manners at all. Do you think that as you are old, you can do whatever you want? This is called relying on the old to sell the old, this is called disrespecting the old. However, Xian pursed his lips and, seeing that the old man seemed to be playing the piano quite well, decided not to argue with him for now. He would wait until he finished playing the Devil's Tremor before discussing it. Qin and say harmonize. High mountains and flowing water. Jin. Jin. No wonder there were so many words related to music in ancient China, used to describe the tacit understanding and mutual admiration between two people. Under the ensemble of the two, this perfect performance lasted for more than half an hour, with no audience moving or talking throughout. Even intentionally targeting the too rich and young of Xian, they were completely immersed in the music of the performance. Until Xian released the last note, Zhong Lao's old but vigorous and slender fingers played the final tune from the black and white keys with extreme reluctance. It's over. But there seems to be a devil's voice circling around the hall. Everyone took a deep breath, as if pulling their souls back from hell, giving them a wonderful experience of not being in the mortal world but also being reborn. Did I just die? Qin Kellen shook his head and realized that everything in front of him was so unreal. She stared at Xian on stage, unable to believe that he was really the most mischievous, bad student in her class. Unbelievable. It's simply unbelievable. I didn't expect to be able to hear the real Devil's Tremor alive. And, with the accompaniment of Mr. Zhong. This is absolutely the most luxurious audio-visual feast of this century. Association Director Chiu Boren is probably the only person present who recognizes the piece played by Xian. Next to him, another director, Huang Zhonghua, also took a while to regain his sanity from the sound of the violin and curiously asked, "Mr. Chiu, you are a master of the violin. Can you tell us what kind of music this Devil's Tremor is? How could it have such a unique magic? I'm telling you, this Devil's Tremor is really amazing. It's a masterpiece passed down by the famous Italian violinist Tatini, and it can be said. Even Tatini himself finds it difficult to play the most complete version of Devil's Tremor because, according to legend, this is not a piece of music that humans can play at all. Mr. Chio's explanation made everyone around him even more curious. They don't understand the violin, so naturally they are not familiar with the famous violinist Tatini, but what does Chio Lao mean by saying, it's not a piece of music that humans can play? Can't humans play? Is it played for animals? This is a piece of music that only demons can play, because it wasn't originally composed by humans. Chio Lao exclaimed excitedly, legend has it that Tatini dreamed of learning the most magical violin technique in the world. Once, in his dream, he sold his soul to the devil in exchange for piano skills, and the devil played him a beautiful piece of music. After waking up from his dream, Tatini recorded this piece of music from memory, which is what we know now. So, this is simply a piece of music that only the devil can play. Oh. Selling soul, a piece played by the devil. Oh my goodness. At this moment, everyone present suddenly realized. No wonder when I just listened, I felt so scared that I couldn't move, but I had to be attracted to listen. The Devil's Tremor is well deserved. I have searched all over Europe, but I have never encountered a violinist who can play the Devil's Tremor. Unexpectedly, in despair, I returned to my hometown and met him in a nearby place. The ancients never deceived me. It's really searching for him thousands of times in the world, suddenly looking back, that person is in a dimly lit place. Ha ha ha. Standing up from the piano stand, Zhong Lao's face was covered in red light, as if he had been in his teens, touching his beard with joy and sighing. But at this moment, Xuan, who was also finishing work, walked forward with a smile and said, "Old man, don't you know that it's impolite to suddenly come together without asking when others are performing? If you want to play the piano in the future, can you start by yourself? But you're pretty good at it, you're a bit skilled." The audience was originally full, still reminiscing about the performance just now and being shocked by the appearance of Mr. Zhong. Fortunately, they could witness Mr. Zhong's piano performance with their own eyes. However, Xuan suddenly said that he despised the world-class piano master Zhong Lao Lai. And keep saying one sentence at a time, it's impolite to come up and perform. In the future, if you want to play the piano, start by yourself. Did you play well? Still a bit level. This is Zhong Lao, the pinnacle of world-class piano masters. Oh. Have you figured out who this elderly person really is? This is Zhong Lao, who can't even save the face of the President of the United States. This is Mr. Zhong, who even the Queen of England needs to personally approach and award the Duke of Art. This is the Eastern Beethoven that countless musicians want to collaborate with even once. In Xuan's mouth, why did he become an impolite, unable to start on his own, and forced to rely on his face to play with him, elderly person? The first one is a big chapter with nearly 3,000 words. In the new week, everyone's recommended votes are very important for Bihuanyo. Please don't hesitate to vote. There are free recommended votes every day, and not voting will also expire and waste. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Is the second update that my girlfriend learned. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 was learned by my girlfriend as the second update, Mr. You. How could you talk to Mr. Zhong like that? He is. Yuan Bofu, the chairman of the Poetry Association, quickly spoke up to stop Xuan's nonsense. However, on stage, Zhong Lao quickly waved his hand, gesturing for Yuan Bofu to shut up, and then bowed to Xuan with great humility in apologies, saying with a smile, "This little friend, I'm really sorry. I just heard your song, Devil's Tremor, which was so itchy that I couldn't help but offend you and come up to accompany you." At that time, I saw that you were also addicted to playing, so it was not easy to interrupt. I hope you don't blame me. Hee hee. You old man, it's okay to admit your mistake, and you can barely play the piano. I'll forgive you. Xuan doesn't recognize Zhong Xinqiu, and even if he does, what kind of impressive identity does the other person have to do with him? Doing something wrong is doing something wrong. No matter how impressive your identity is, you cannot distort black and white. Can it be said that whatever the common people do is wrong, it is illegal and criminal? Those wealthy people who do the same thing are reasonable and legal, and should even be well praised and promoted. Our ancestors have long said, a prince who breaks the law is guilty of the same crime as the common people. That's the truth. Don't look at Xuan wearing a mature mask, but this prop just makes him look more mature and stable on the outside. It didn't have a big impact, and in terms of personality, Xuan is still the mischievous and playful high school student. So even though he knew that this old man might have a decent status, he didn't care much and said it was correct. After all, it was time for your own performance just now. Even if you had a big start, suddenly rushing up was not right. However, what Xuan recognized as reason in his eyes, in the eyes of the leaders of the Poetry Association below, was a great disrespect to Zhong Lao. That's all that was said just now. Now, it's unbelievable to say that Zhong Lao's attitude of admitting mistakes is just right, and he even dares to evaluate Zhong Lao's piano playing as barely acceptable. This is simply. It's making people laugh and cry. Even those piano masters who are now widely recognized in the world, standing in front of Mr. Zhong, still hold their disciples and seek guidance from their younger generations. However, this is a standard of judgment in the eyes of ordinary people in the secular world. For Xuan at this time, he not only possessed the abilities of a world-class violinist after using the violin speed guide. Moreover, the most important thing is to add 100 artistic attributes, which greatly enhances his artistic appreciation ability, in other words, his vision is high. Mr. He, how could he? Yuan Bofu, the chairman of the Poetry Association, can also be considered an old scholar. Naturally, he couldn't stand Xuan's attitude of, no big or small, and his heart was about to explode with anger. However, the nearby director Chiu Boren quickly grabbed him and whispered, Chairman Yuan, let's not speak recklessly. Look at Mr. Zhong's attitude. As the only artist on site who understands violin, and also truly understands the artistic level of Xuan's performance of Devil's Tremor, Chiu Boren is very clear that with the skill of this piece, Xuan is fully qualified to have a dialogue with Zhong Laoping. It's strange, so many people present may just think that Xuan played the violin well, and when Zhong Lao happened to hear about it, he came in on the spur of the moment to support his younger generation before playing together with him. But how could they know that not only did Zhong Lao promote Xuan, but Xuan's song Devil's Tremor promoted Zhong Lao? Ah. So it's like this, Boren. Thank you for bringing it up. Being able to become the chairman of the Poetry Association, Yuan Bofu naturally understood everything and lost his temper in an instant. He dared not interrupt and accuse Xuan again. At this moment on stage, after Xuan finished playing, he casually put down the violin. Zhong Lao approached curiously, but immediately frowned and pulled lightly before exclaiming in surprise, "Is this piano broken? The sound is not accurate." What? He actually pulled out Devil's Treble with a broken piano. Upon hearing these words, Chiu Boren in the audience was even more shocked and inexplicable. Even the world's top violinists find it difficult to perform Devil's Tremor with the best violins, but Xuan can still perform so perfectly with a broken piano. This skill is simply amazing. Can a bad piano still be played so well? Mr. He, it's hard to show it. Mr. He's violin level should be considered very good if he can gain Mr. Zhong's recognition. It seems that Teacher Qin has really found an artist. He can barely match Teacher Qin. No way. What's the use of playing the violin well? If you're not famous, at most it's for private tutoring. Moreover, foreign violinists and musicians make money because they have performances in various concerts. No one pays to watch domestic concerts. What's the future of playing the violin? Speaking of which, I have a relative son who has been very smart since childhood. He passed the CET level 10 for the violin at the age of 12. He passed the entrance exam at the Central Conservatory of Music, and even after graduating, he couldn't find a good job and could only live in some third-rate bands. Art is like this. Those who understand are regarded as heavenly sounds and as the greatest thing in this world. But in the eyes of those who don't understand, isn't it just listening to a sound? After some shock and enjoyment, I still feel that. I am just an unknown violinist from my hometown. Only when you win certain awards and international recognition abroad, will these people follow the trend and give out various kneeling and licking appreciation and worship. But in the eyes of Zhong Lao and Qiu Boran, Xuan played Devil's Tremor with a bad chin, which was simply extraordinary. Wait a minute, little friend. Can I ask boldly, how could you play a piece like Devil's Tremor at a young age? What is your mentor? It is obvious that Zhong Lao has already been amazed by Xuan's level, which makes him even more curious about which domestic music master has cultivated such excellent disciples. To his surprise, Xuan smiled slightly and said, I play the violin. Without a teacher, I just play it myself in boredom, mainly because. At this point, Xuan paused for a moment and then pointed to Qin Kellen, who was still in a daze, saying, mainly my girlfriend Kellen. She likes to listen to the sound of the violin, so. I just learned it for a while, which can be considered as learning for my girlfriend. Finally, Mr. Zhong's question brought Xuan back to today's main task. We are here today to be a shared boyfriend, how can we just focus on pretending to be alone? You need to pretend to be coerced, and you also need to bring your girlfriend along. At this moment, the young girls present couldn't help but coax and looked enviously at Qin Kellen. Teacher Qin, wow! How happy you are! You have such a talented and willing boyfriend who is willing to give for you. Hey! I asked my boyfriend to learn guitar, but he refused to learn it no matter how much I begged him. In the future, when proposing marriage, He will play the violin in the moonlight, affectionate and romantic. Teacher Qin, you will be happy. At this moment, due to a sentence from Xuan, Qin Kellen became the most enviable person among all the girls in the room. Feeling the affectionate gaze of Xuan on stage, and listening to the jealous words of the girls around her, Qin Kellen actually had a feeling of being spoiled and loved by her boyfriend. She looked at Xuan on stage, feeling a bit blurry in her mind. She is really puzzled who is this standing on stage. She was thinking that if this guy just played the violin, so immersed, so talented, so handsome, really was his boyfriend, how wonderful it would be. However, the thought flashed through Qin Kellen's mind, and he quickly shook his head, trying to make himself clearer. She quickly warned herself psychologically, Qin Kellen, what are you overthinking? It's obvious. Why is it Xuan? He's just a student in your class. How can you have feelings or thoughts about an 18-year-old boy? This is a crime. Wake up, Qin Kellen. P.S. The signing of the contract has finally arrived. It's time to give rewards now. Thank you to the book friend Zifeiyu for giving a reward of 2,000 renminbi, as well as the rewards of good luck and candles. Let's celebrate. Then. Hand in the recommended tickets. End of this chapter. 10. Writing poetry in Chapter 10, I happen to know a little too. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Writing poetry, I happen to know a little too. For this shared boyfriend, Qin Kellen's initial expectations were really small. Her only thought was to be able to get by, but when she saw that the person coming was her student Xuan, she was completely disillusioned. However, what happened before her was simply a shock from the depths of her soul. Is this really her student Xuan? Chin Kellen has questioned herself like this countless times in her heart, but still feels like it's all just a dream. Chin Kellen could never have imagined that Xuan not only knew how to play the violin, but also played it so well. Although she knew he definitely didn't learn it for herself, any girl on stage who heard these words would probably couldn't help but have some fun in her heart. Women. Psychologically, when they judge whether a boy truly likes them, they use how much the other person has put in for themselves to judge. Especially the vanity of women was at play, and in the face of the envy of the girls around her, Chin Kellen's heart had a feeling of losing sweet honey, as if at this moment, Xuan standing on stage was really her boyfriend. I greatly admire my young friend's artistic skills. This is my business card. Please come to my house to have tea when you have time. Taking out a black business card with him, Zhong Lao didn't say much to Xuan and hurriedly stepped down to prepare to leave through the side door. Zhong Lao. Zhong Lao. Stay behind. Seeing that Zhong Lao was about to leave, Yuan Bofu, the chairman of the Poetry Association, quickly caught up and warmly invited him. Zhong Lao, it's rare for you to come back to Shanghai City. Our Poetry Association will also have an impromptu poetry creation segment next, why not? You stay and participate. There are many young members, and everyone has admired you for a long time. We hope to have more communication and exchange with you. However, Zhong Lao waved his hand repeatedly and said, thank you very much for your kindness. However, the piece I improvised while playing with He Xiaoyu just now, I need to take advantage of my memory and quickly go back and write it down. After hastily speaking, Mr. Zhong hurried home without looking back, leaving only Yuan Bofu with a regretful expression on his face. Lu Xiao. It seems that we fell this time and instead let this kid show off all the show. Wang Wenbin watched as Xuan walked down the stage, feeling very unwilling and saying, I didn't expect this kid to play the violin so well even with a bad one. This kid is hiding deep enough, and I also expected that he is really a master of violin. So, let's play to our strengths and avoid our weaknesses, and definitely not make things difficult for him in music. This is a poetry association activity, hehe. I know the next activity is to write poetry on site, find a way to encourage him to come on stage and write poetry on the spot. Zhang Jiala couldn't make a plan, so he came up with another plan. That's right. This is definitely a good way to set up a topic on the spot and improvise poetry. Even a famous poet may not be able to produce good works, let alone an outsider. Taking advantage of his current popularity, he must feel inflated. As a frequent guest of the Poetry Association, Wang Wenbin is very clear about the doors and channels inside. What kind of bullshit is writing poetry on site during each activity? Most poets know the proposition 1 or 2 days in advance, and then spend some effort writing it out first. When it comes to the event, they pretend to be improvising. The Poetry Association is also for the sake of saving face and creating a lively atmosphere, and everyone is well aware of this. Except for a few young poets who are good at showing off their true improvisation, the old friends all come up with poems that have been refined for a few days. Kellen, my performance is pretty good, isn't it? Returning to Chin Kellen's side from the stage, Xuan also clearly felt that her gaze towards him was somewhat incorrect. Do you really know how to play the violin? When did you learn it? Chin Kellen had 10,000 question marks in her heart about Xuan's outstanding performance, and of course, there were also 100 million surprises. Do you believe it today? Xuan told the truth, but Chin Kellen thought Xuan was teasing her, so he didn't ask further. Instead, he whispered to Xuan, don't be too proud. In the impromptu poetry section, the theme is love, and they will definitely encourage you to come on stage. Look at the little note I gave you earlier, which contains a poem I wrote in advance. The word count is not many, so you should memorize it quickly. You can deal with it when you come on stage. Oh. At this moment, Xuan remembered that when he entered the door just now, Qin Kellen gave him a note. At that time, Xuan still thought that this was a love letter Qin Kellen gave him. I didn't expect it to be really a love poem. Is this one? Taking out a note from his pocket, Xuan gently unfolded it, and it was indeed a short modern poem written on it. Yes. That's it. I went over and talked to them. Xuan, remember to memorize it. Seeing Xuan unfold the note, Qin Kellen still felt a bit ashamed. After all, the poem she wrote on it was about love. Seeing Xuan face to face like this naturally made her feel a bit embarrassed. So Qin Kellen found an excuse to talk to Li Huanhuan and the other girls. Let me take a look. This is the love poem that teacher Qin wrote to me. It has to be said that holding this small note, Xuan's heart still feels a little uneasy. Because when reading those bloody online novels, it's always students who write love letters and poems to their teachers. Where can a teacher write love poems for students? This is definitely a counterplot, not even those novel authors can come up with it. The love poem on the note is very short, perhaps because Qin Kellen wanted Xuan to memorize it in a short time. Rootless water, the flowers are gradually withering, the wind blowing in the face is regretting. When the flowers were in full bloom that day, why didn't you take away such beauty? Rootless water, falling from the sky is originally innocent, falling the fragrance on the ground, but it's inevitable. I feel guilty in my heart. This is a short modern poem that does not mention a single word for emotion or love, but vividly portrays two different states of love. The first type is the regret of having flowers that can be easily broken but must be broken, while the latter type is the shame of flowing water with a heart and falling flowers without intention. Unexpectedly, teacher Qin is quite literary. However, this poem is clearly written by a girl, and it's a bit too sad. After only reading it once, Xuan was almost able to memorize it, but he did not intend to use Qin Kellen's poem. On the other hand, Li Huan smiled and gave Qin Kellen a thumbs up, saying, Kellen, you can do it. Surprisingly, you really found such a powerful boyfriend who kept us all hidden. I just realized that he's so skilled at playing the violin. I thought he only knew a little bit. Being praised, Qin Kellen felt a bit guilty. The next part will be about writing poetry on site. I know it was just Lu Xiao and Bin Xiao who deliberately made trouble by digging a pit for Mr. He. Now, it's the part where we have to write poetry on site. They will definitely do their own writing. Li Huanhuan had a posture of watching good plays and said to Qin Kellen with a wry expression, Mr. He, can he handle it? Don't worry. Just write a poem on site. I believe there's no need, there should be no problem. Qin Kellen has great confidence in her poem. Although it cannot be said to be an excellent modern poem, it was also cleverly conceived by her, and she is more than enough to handle the Poetry Association activities. At the same time, the activities of the Poetry Association entered the next stage. Kai Pin, vice chairman of the Poetry Association, smiled and held the microphone, saying, Today is truly an honor for our Poetry Association. We are honored to have Mr. Zhong, who has been playing the Qin, come out to play. At the same time, we also want to thank Mr. He for his wonderful performance. However, since we are all part of the Poetry Association's activities, how could we have lacked the on-site improvisation talent of the poets present to create? As usual, today, the theme of our improvisation is love. The show's coming. Look at me. Wang Wenbin waited for this moment and walked up to Xuan with two well-known young poets from Shanghai City. He smiled and said, Mr. He, improvisation on the spot is a major feature of our Poetry Association. These two young poets, Hu Boyan and Lu Heng, are from Shanghai City. They heard that Mr. He can also write poetry. I wonder if would they be willing to take the stage and fight poetry together? Oh. When Wang Wenbin spoke up to invite a battle, all the other poets present were startled. You should know that Hu Boyan and Lu Heng can be said to be the most talented and famous poets in Shanghai City today, and they can be ranked first nationwide. Fighting poetry with the two of them, even the well-known old poets of the Poetry Association dare not dare, let alone He Xian, who is completely unknown in the poetry world. Bin Xiao. Today is a regular exchange activity of our Poetry Association. There's no need for poetry competitions or anything like that. Besides, Mr. He is not a member of our Poetry Association either. Seeing that Wang Wenbin was not kind, another director of the Poetry Association, Ai Yuan, quickly stepped forward and became a mediator. Elder Ai, I'm just an invitation. The decision on whether or not to fight poetry is in Mr. He's hands. If he doesn't dare to fight poetry, we naturally won't force it. Wang Wenbin knew that as long as he said so, even if He Xian did not respond, his goal had been achieved. Moreover, as both men, Wang Wenbin knew that He Xian would never give up or show weakness in front of Qin Kellen, so he was bound to fight. Why not, don't agree. Qin Kellen's face changed when he saw this, and he quickly ran over to dissuade He Xiandao. Mr. He, it's okay. If you feel like you can't write it out, just let's pretend we didn't say what we just said. Wang Wenbin saw Qin Kellen coming over and politely said, retreat as progress. However, he knew that in front of Qin Kellen, there was no man willing to back down, let alone this boyfriend. Sure enough, facing the provocation from two famous poets brought by Wang Wenbin, He Xian smiled slightly and truly agreed, saying, writing poetry. I happen to know a little bit too. Don't fight poetry with them. Why bother, you don't even know what fighting poetry represents. Seeing He Xian agreeing so easily, Qin Kellen shouted out that it was not good. P.S. Thank you to the helmsman of Qidian Shinchao, Zi Feiyude, for giving me a reward. Little brother in front, wait for me, and Area, as well as the readers of Death God, Sad Queen, Death God, Shadow, D, and so on who read QQ, because your IDs are too strange and difficult to write in full numbers. In short, thank you very much for your support. End of this chapter.